We're going to start with an extraordinary couple of hours in the world of football and the escalating kiss scandal in Spain. Jorge Vilda, the World Cup winning coach, has been sacked, and the Spanish Football Federation has apologised for the enormous damage caused by the actions of its suspended president, Luis Rubiales. Our chief reporter, as you'll see, Kaveh Solhekol, is with me in the studio now. Kaveh, let's start with Jorge Vilda. He's won the World Cup, but he's now been sacked. Why?
Very good question. We've had two extraordinary statements from the Spanish Football Federation in the past 2 hours. This second one confirming what we were reporting last week, that Vilda was going to lose his job. Now, I'm just trying to get my head around this statement. It was in Spanish. It's also been released in English. I've read it quite a few times. They give absolutely no reason for dismissing him. I've got to admit, reading this, it reads as if it was being written by Vilda, because the whole statement is basically a glowing tribute to him. It says that the coach has been key to the growth of women's football, leaves Spain as the world champions and second in FIFA rankings. It says that the interim chairman, Pedro Rocha, has had to dispense with the services of Jorge Vilda. It says they appreciate his work, they value his impeccable personal and sporting conduct. They would like to express their gratitude to him for his services, his professionalism, his dedication during all these years. And the Federation, it says, is left with an extraordinary sporting legacy thanks to this great man. So if you read this statement, you would be asking yourself, why have they decided to get rid of him? And I think they're not going to tell you, but my take on it is there was no way he could carry on being the head coach, because he had no players and he had no coaches. He was seen as a close ally of Luis Rubiales. Luis Rubiales is the past. He's finished. Even though he's clinging on, he's banned from football. He's going to lose his job as the president of the Spanish Federation. At an extraordinary assembly 2 Fridays ago, we saw Vilda applauding Rubiales' speech when Rubiales said, "I've done nothing wrong, I'm not resigning, I'm going to clear my name." And even though Vilda came out and criticised Rubiales, he had no players, he had no team. Even though just a few days earlier, he had become a world champion, he had led Spain to World Cup glory. He didn't have a team, he didn't have any players, he didn't have very much support in Spain, so the writing was on the wall for him. And this statement, to me, it feels like he has had some input in this, or his representatives have had some input in this, because you would expecting maybe for him to leave through the back door, but reading this statement, he's leaving through the front door.
And doesn't it also point to part of the problem they've got in Spain, that, we hear that they want a fresh start and rebuild their reputation and their image, and yet you have a statement like that which makes absolutely no reference to what's happened?
Exactly. There's no explanation. I mean, we have to read between the lines. Everybody's reading between the lines. Everybody knows the problems there have been with his squad, and he's been a very divisive figure. For instance, last year, 15 of his players released a statement saying they would not play for him again because of concerns about their health and emotional state. And do you know what Luis Rubiales did? Instead of backing the players, he backed the head coach. And 12 of those 15 players missed out on the World Cup. They paid the ultimate price for saying, no, we're not going to play for this head coach, and we're not going to play for this federation when they're led by a man like Luis Rubiales. The final point I would also make is there are games coming up. The world champions have Nations League games coming up later this month against Sweden and Switzerland. So the Spanish Federation had to do something, because they need to fulfill those fixtures, and the Spain team, the world champions, were not going to play for Vilda, and they were not going to play until the leadership of the Spanish Federation had been changed.
But the tone of that statement regarding Vilda is in total contrast to the tone of the letter released by the Federation earlier today regarding Rubiales, isn't it? What did that say?
Brilliant point. I mean, that one is an extraordinary statement as well. It was a total and utter grovelling apology. I've never seen a statement like it before. It basically apologised to everybody the Spanish Federation could think of for the unacceptable behaviour of Luis Rubiales. They apologised to all football governing bodies, FIFA, UEFA, football associations, all players, they said, including, of course, the Spain women's team. They mentioned by name the England women's team as well. They apologised to all supporters around the world, all stakeholders, for the totally unacceptable behaviour of their highest institutional representative. And they said that the international prestige of Spain and Spanish sport had been damaged by one man, and they named him Mr. Luis Rubiales, and they totally washed their hands of him. They said everything he said since, all his statements claiming that the kiss was consensual, that has nothing to do with us. He is the past. There's a new leadership at the Federation, and we're going to do things differently in the future. Having said that, we have to wait and judge them by their actions, not their words.
Two extraordinary statements for very different reasons from Spain this afternoon. Kaveh, for now, thank you very much.